Hello, my Pontiac High School people. Today we're going to be looking at why we have laws, these little pesky things that tell us what we can and cannot do. Why do we even have them? Well, rules and laws exist as guidelines for expected behavior. They're what tell us how we are supposed to behave in society. And when we have these kind of guidelines as to how we're supposed to behave and we can all agree on them, they're written down and formalized into laws which then apply to everybody. And once it's done that way, and once we have a law and not a guideline, we have consequences. We have results that are going to be unpleasant for you if you can't follow that particular law. But why do we all need to do this? Well, the most basic reason is that we've got to maintain order in our society. That's what laws do. They help us to maintain order. Laws also establish standards for businesses and education. Lets us know how businesses are supposed to be run, who is supposed to be getting an education, how those organizations should function for the best interests of the public. Laws also clarify the proper ways to settle serious conflicts. So if you and your neighbor are out playing baseball in the neighborhood and you initiate the ball game and you're pitching the ball and you throw the ball and your friend hits the ball and it crashes through a neighbor's window, well, who's responsible for that? Person who started the game and pitched the ball or the person who hit it? These are conflicts which the law can help us to resolve. All of that is why we have them. We also have laws to protect people's safety. It's not just about protecting property and windows and all that. It's protecting you and your life. No society can function properly when its citizens are living in fear every day that they will be subject to bodily harm. It doesn't work well. So laws exist to make sure that individuals are protected from being harmed by others, to make sure that you're not going to get jumped out on the street, or at least that if that does happen, steps are put in place to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Laws also protect the quality of life for those who can't fend for themselves, just to make sure that if you're poor or if you're disabled, that you will have a basic quality of life that is still protected by our nation as a whole. Apart from our safety, we do have protections from our property. Laws ensure that your property is safe from being taken by others. It is illegal for other people to come into your house uninvited and take your stuff. If it wasn't illegal to do that, it would happen a whole lot more. And that's why we have these laws. We also have laws to protect property that is being damaged through others' actions. If your car is hit by somebody else when you're not driving it and your car is legally parked, well, you have protections that will make sure that you get paid for those damages. Laws also protect intellectual property, your ideas. If you have an idea and you're the first person to have this particular idea and you get that idea protected, it's yours. It's intellectual property. And then you can be the first to turn that idea into a new business or a new invention. We also have laws to protect our freedom, our overall freedom in the society as a whole. Individuals, groups, maybe the government might try to limit your individual freedoms, might try to tell you what you can't do, but there are legal protections in place. There are certain things that the government can't make against the law. One of the ways we have done this in the United States is through our Constitution, by carefully identifying and explaining individual freedoms that cannot be taken away by our government. We've done this in the Bill of Rights. This is the most famous way that we've done it. This is where we get our freedom of speech, the freedom of press, the right to bear arms, the right to not incriminate yourself in a court of law. These are all put down in the Bill of Rights. The Constitution also guarantees that all laws have to be applied fairly to all citizens. We have laws to protect the common good. The Preamble to the Constitution outline the main purposes of our government and really looks to make sure that we're protecting our common good. It's right there in the Preamble, which once again states, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, part of law, ensure domestic tranquility, part of law, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, part of law, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, which is a part of the law, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So much in that Constitution, so much in our meaning and our purpose for having a government is wrapped up in laws for the common good. Additionally, we have laws to protect the environment, the poor, the workplace. Laws protect our food. There are certain things, though, that aren't covered necessarily by law, or that are, but we don't even think about it in terms of law. We think about it in terms of moral, the concept of right and wrong. Now, we get these concepts from different places. What is a right action and what is a wrong action? If you're a religious individual, you might get it from church or from synagogue or from mosque. And you get these religious concepts of right and wrong. It might just be something you get in the household. Your mom or your dad tells you this is right and this is wrong. Some of us get it by law. But for the most part, when we look at the laws that are written down, they are based upon these morals. Somebody had the idea that one thing was right and one thing was wrong. Other people shared that idea and they agreed to make a law based upon their moral beliefs. And most Americans will obey laws simply because they believe it's the right thing to do. However, sometimes obeying laws is not the right thing to do, or we don't believe that it is the right thing to do. Sometimes our laws and our morals disagree with each other. And this is an important conflict for us to have and to struggle with. Some people will choose to break a law if they feel that that law is immoral. We saw a lot of this in the civil rights movement in the United States. A lot of sit-ins, a lot of people trespassing in restaurants where they weren't allowed to legally, but the law that said they weren't allowed to was unjust and immoral. This is called civil disobedience. This is where you're going to break a law, but you're going to do it in a peaceful way where nobody is physically harmed. Martin Luther King Jr. said it very well when he said that one has a responsibility, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. That we see injustice, and we see injustice in the world around us, we need to do something about that. And sometimes that means breaking an unjust law. So do keep in mind, we have plenty of reasons why these laws are created, mostly around the idea of maintaining order and keeping ourselves safe and protected. However, we do always have this question of the morality of some of those laws. So don't think of a law as an absolute. Think of a law as one person's moral judgment that may or may not agree with your own. And if it does not agree with yours, you have the power to do something about it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something, and farewell.